2023 Section 1 football, all section Class B. Jack Akiavati, Rye. In the best roster of wide receivers in this section, Akiavati proved to be the most reliable threat for the Garnets. The senior speedster caught a team-best 50 passes, averaging 14 yards per reception with 4 touchdowns. Akiavati contributed 29 tackles at cornerback and intercepted 2 passes and returned a fumble for a touchdown for the state champs. Ray Booten, Nyack. A third-year varsity starter, Booten was a 3-time All-County selection and a 2-time All-Section pick. His playmaking ability in the secondary was incredible. He had 5 interceptions and was routinely assigned to the toughest coverages. He posted nearly 700 yards of offense and scored 7 touchdowns. Evan Bowen, Sleepy Hollow. The elusiveness and ability to explode through contact made Bowen one of the most fun players to watch in the entire section this season. He was a highlight reel waiting to happen. Bowen rushed for 712 yards and 9 touchdowns in only 6 games, averaging 7 yards per carry. He ran for 262 yards and 4 touchdowns in his final career game, a win over Ramapo. Fitzy Byrne, Pleasantville. The Panthers had to mostly rebuild their offensive line after back-to-back section championship seasons, and they did it around Byrne. The veteran two-way standout excelled out in open space, leading the way for this vaunted rushing attack. At linebacker, Byrne averaged 4.5 tackles per game and recorded 5 tackles for loss and recovered 2 fumbles. Keith Capuano, Hastings. Despite every opposing defense knowing exactly where the ball was going, Capuano still went up and got it. The supremely talented receiver led the Yellow Jackets again in receiving this fall and did it despite constant double teams. Capuano finished his career with 27 total touchdowns. A basketball standout as well, Capuano has committed to play football at Wesleyan University. Mike Casario, Nanuet. The emotional leader of the Nanuet defense, Casario returned this fall and surpassed all expectations. He led the Golden Knights with 121 tackles, a sack, and an interception, helping them reach the Class B playoffs. His play on the offensive line as center allowed Nanuet to play its patented brand of smash-mouth football. Anthony Chenard, Ardsley. While Chenard's season was cut short by injury, he was able to make a tremendous impact this year on offense, defense, and special teams. The wideout finished the season with 21 catches for 412 yards and 7 touchdowns. In the secondary on defense, he racked up 38 tackles and 3 interceptions, repeatedly showing off his playmaking ability. Chenard was Ardsley's offensive MVP. Sean Claremont, Nyack. The junior stepped up into a featured role in the Nyack backfield and developed into one of Class B's most dynamic runners. He totaled 995 yards rushing with 6 touchdowns on only 83 carries, a 12-yard per carry clip that ranks among the best in Section 1. He was a powerful runner who consistently needed multiple defenders to bring him down, while also being a force at linebacker, posting 88 tackles and 3 sacks. Nicholas Espinal, Pearl River. The senior captain took the reins of this multifaceted rushing attack and proved to be the rugged, durable back they needed to win close games. Espinal ran for 12 touchdowns, highlighted by his dramatic walk-off touchdown to beat rival Nanuet in the Little Brown Jug. On defense, he posted 39 tackles, 11 for loss, with 2 forced fumbles and a blocked punt. Kyle Gallagher, Lakeland. Gallagher found a way to be a playmaker in all 3 phases of the game. The senior wideout was a reliable target, hauling in 46 catches for 700 yards and 8 touchdowns. He was a big play threat on the defensive side as well. The cornerback recorded 6 interceptions, 2 of which he returned for touchdowns, and he also returned a punt for a score. Alexander Gekai, Putt Valley. The third-year starter was again the anchor for the Tigers' offensive and defensive lines. The 6'3", 200-pounder showcased athleticism, quick feet, and strong hands to move defenders around and open holes for the Putt Valley offense that they tore through all in the regular season. At defensive end, he posted 8.5 sacks in 7 games and 35 tackles as he keyed a unit that allowed less than 400 rushing yards combined in the regular season. Jason Gonzalez, Rye. With so many injuries on the offensive and defensive line around him, Gonzalez was a consistent and stabilizing force for the Garnets all season long. He helped power a line that posted over 6,000 yards of offense and won a Class B state championship while leading the team with 70 tackles on defense. Ryan Horrigan, Pleasantville. On a team with no shortage of star power, Horrigan may have quietly been the most productive defensive player in the entire section over the last 3 seasons. After earning the starting linebacker job as a sophomore, Horrigan was a tackles machine, recording 381 tackles in 35 career games. He topped 100 tackles again this season with 20 for loss and posted 4.5 sacks as the Panthers went unbeaten in the regular season. Chris Uliano, Rye. The workhorse in the Garnets backfield, Uliano put the offense on his back in key moments this season. The junior, who was committed to play lacrosse at Notre Dame, took on 228 carries this season and turned it into 1,320 yards rushing and a staggering 24 touchdowns. He ran for 215 yards and 3 scores on 38 carries in the Section 1 championship game and had 29 carries and scored 3 more times in the state final. Uliano was also a stalwart on defense, posting 47 tackles and 2 interceptions. Jacob Jones, Croton Harmon. The rugged, durable running back was a bit of a throwback player for the Tigers. He put the team on his shoulders on both sides of the ball. In 8 games, he posted 105 tackles, 25 for loss, and 3 sacks. A 4-year starter and 2-time captain, Jones led the offense in rushing and scoring. He's also being recruited by many Division I FCS schools. Jake Kessner, Rye. When Kessner was healthy, Rye proved to be overwhelmingly the best team in New York State. Overcoming a midseason injury, Kessner commanded double teams as a defensive end and still managed 6 tackles per game with 4 sacks and an interception. Rye went to Kessner in big spots on offense, and he bulldozed his way for first downs, recording 33 catches and 4 touchdowns for the New York State champions. Grady Leonard, Lakeland. The senior quarterback leads Lakeland among the most prolific passers in program history. A multi-sport standout, Leonard settled into his own this fall in football. He passed for 2,040 yards and 24 touchdowns, numbers that were both among the state leaders, and he did it only in 10 games. He never threw for less than 100 yards in any contest, tossed at least 1 touchdown in every game, and had 4 touchdown passes in 3 of his games. Dagan McLaughlin, Pearl River. McLaughlin did a little bit of everything this season for the Pirates. He led the team with 22 receptions and posted 337 yards and 3 touchdowns. On special teams, he averaged 21 yards per punt return and was all over the field at cornerback, recording 76 tackles, 11 for loss, and 3 interceptions. Ricky Meister, Putnam Valley. Meister was the maestro of the Putnam Valley offense again this season. He rushed for over 100 yards in 5 out of his 7 regular season games, finishing with 1,720 career rushing yards and 21 touchdowns. This season, he was just shy of 1,000 yards rushing and 12 scores. Defensively, Meister also added 22 solo tackles and helped Putt Valley reach the Class B playoffs. Hunter Merkel, Rhinebeck. Few quarterbacks put the time into working out in the offseason as Merkel, and the results in the field showed it. In only 7 games, Merkel went over 1,000 yards combined, passing and running, with 15 total touchdowns. He threw for 148 yards at 2 scores and ran for a touchdown in an emotional win over Han Hud and scored 3 times in a victory over Irvington. Merkel also had 53 tackles to lead the defense. A.J. Miller, Rye. The quarterback of the state champions. What else needs to be said? The stats for Miller are also certainly impressive too. In 13 games, Miller led Section 1 with 2,580 yards passing with 22 touchdowns. giving him over 4,500 career yards in the air with 38 scores. He shook off some early season struggles and became an efficient passer, completing 70% of his throws in the final 9 games, leading Rye to its first state title in 15 years. Jack O'Sullivan, Nanuet. The Golden Knights used the leg of O'Sullivan like a weapon. His ability to flip the field thanks to a punting average of 47 yards per attempt proved to be invaluable. As a place kicker, he was 15 of 16 on PATs and connected on 3 field goals, the longest being a school record 46 yards. He had 18 touchbacks on kickoffs and 40 in his career. On defense, he had 60 tackles and a team-high 7 sacks, while leading the team on offense in receiving as a tight end. Sean Perry, Lakeland. In this high-flying Lakeland offense, Perry broke out and broke every school record as a receiver. He finished the season with a record 53 catches for 745 yards and 8 touchdowns, highlighted by his 2-touchdown effort in a win over Nyack. He had 101 career receptions and 1,257 yards, which both set school records, and 13 total touchdowns. Kyle Pesky, Hen Hud. A standout state tournament wrestler, Pesky was able to utilize his unquestioned strength and quickness on the football field this fall too. The Sailors put the ball in Pesky's hands roughly 20 times per game, and he carried the offense on his shoulders. He had just under 700 yards rushing. A 3-year player and captain, Pesky also led the team in tackles. Aiden Picard, Pleasantville. In his 4th season on varsity, Picard matured into one of the most prolific passers in this section. He threw the deep ball as well as anyone thanks to that powerful left arm. On the year, he threw for 1,415 yards and 13 touchdowns for the 2nd year in a row. He threw for or ran for a touchdown in all 10 games and led Pleasantville to a win over eventual state champion Rye and led Pleasantville to the Section 1 championship game for the 3rd year in a row. Jack Quinn, Byram Hills. A 30-year starter, Quinn proved to be a durable lineman and a relentless tackler. In 8 games this season, Quinn patrolled the middle of the field and collected 92 tackles, including 11 for loss, with 3 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, and an interception. A terrific blocker at guard, Quinn was a centerpiece of last year's Byram defense that went to the Section 1 championship game. Michael Rendy, Ardsley. In the Ardsley program the last 2 seasons, Rendy defined the word leader. His relentless offseason training and preparation set him up for success this fall. He was a stabilizing force on both sides of the ball, leading the program to the Class B semifinal. Rendy accumulated 725 yards passing and 11 touchdowns and ran for 600 yards and 10 scores. He was voted Section 1 Class B Defensive Back of the Year for the Panthers. Kenny Saito, Edgemont. The two-way standout finished off a 3-year varsity career where he rarely left the field and was all over it when he was on it. Saito was relentless in pursuit as a linebacker, running down quarterbacks, and getting to the sideline to limit plays. Edgemont primarily ran behind him on offense, and he was strong in pass protection. Ben Silverman, Ardsley. The senior captain was an all-around impact player in all 3 phases of the game, helping Ardsley go 7-2, with their lone 2 losses coming against eventual state champion Rye. Silverman was the team captain and defensive MVP. He finished the season with 71.5 tackles, 2 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries, and over 600 yards of offense and 4 total touchdowns. Kyle Snow, Rye-Neck. The junior two-way standout enjoyed a breakout season for the Panthers. Snow was the bruising between the tackle runner for the Rye-Neck offense, which exceeded all expectations by winning 6 games. On defense, he led the team with 76 tackles, including 15 versus Edgemont, 13 versus Hen Hud, and 11 versus Croton, all of which were 1-score victories. The 2023 Section 1 Class B Player of the Year, Daniel Picard, Pleasantville. The Picard Show, at least on the football field, is over in Pleasantville. And what a ride it was. Daniel Picard was part running back and receiver and part showman, making some of the most unthinkable plays over the last 4 seasons. This fall, the reigning Section 1 Player of the Year continued his ascension up the record books, rushing for 1,116 yards and 19 touchdowns, and catching 23 passes for over 560 yards and 6 scores. And that was with relentless defensive attention on him in every game. None of it really mattered to Picard, who made the incredible look routine. Picard led Pleasantville to back-to-back Section 1 championships and state final appearances before his career came to an end in this year's Class B section final to Rye, who went on to capture the state championship. But Picard leaves a legacy that will cement him among the all-time greats out of Section 1, thanks to his over 4,000 yards rushing, nearly 2,000 yards receiving, 7,500 all-purpose yards, and 83 total career touchdowns. They don't retire numbers in high school football, but if they did in Pleasantville, number 10 would be a good place to start.